Yo, welcome back to the channel. Right, so we are back at the garage conversion job. So we are creating a house within a house, like a mini house within the house. So last time I was here, I managed to get some of the first fix done, as some of you guys have watched. So I'll try and put the link above my head somewhere for that video. So it was absolutely roasting. It was one of the hottest days of the year, so it was a bit of a struggle, to be honest. So the lads were all prepping for screeding, so I can only get so much done, but also there's a lot going on with this house within the amount of usage on the electricity that they're already using now before, so we've had to do a lot of calculations, so a lot slower. Blah, blah, blah. So I think we got to the bottom of that now, so I think we've done all our calcs and we are all good. So if you haven't seen that video, I better give you a little brief walkthrough of the job. But before that, if you haven't subscribed, click the link in one of these corners down below. It's completely free, it doesn't cost you a penny, helps the channel grow, and we can all become friends. So we are now currently, whoa, dark. So we're currently now standing in what is going to be the lounge. So the floor's all been screeded. Steve and the rest of the lads are going to be over here at some point later on, making a bit of a guest cameo appearance, I believe. So we're going to try and get the stud walls up for me, which will make life a lot easier once those are all up. But we've got plenty to do anyway, so don't need to worry. So this is going to be the dining room, living room thing. So this wall across here is going to be studded up. That is the bedroom, so that is where that is going to be. So that's the bedroom. Hold on, hurdles over the pipe. So this bit here is going to be open plan. This is your kitchen. So also in here, just go and grab said torch. Hold it, please hold. So in here, this is going to be the bathroom. So you've got the shower going to be going over here at some point. I think the toilet and then sink here. So in here, this is going to be a little boiler room, should we say. So, but before that wall can come up, I've got to move all this lot anyway. So I've got all the little solar boost stuff, because they've got solar PV on the roof here, so I've got to move all that. So you see where these marks are here, so that is where the stud wall is going to finish. So anything that's in that area needs to be brought up and eventually is going to be going onto this stud wall. So it's going to a little bit Heath Robinson at the minute. Also, because originally I'd planned to have the consumer unit up here, but that's not going to work, because then we've figured out the only place for the sink is going to be here, because we've got no actual plans for the kitchen properly. So oven, hob, extractor, little fridge somewhere around there, sink. So we're now having to change it, and roughly speaking, where this cable is coming down now is going to be the board, which is actually going to be mounted inside this unit here, inside this cupboard. So it's obviously not in the bathroom, because I don't think that's going to be very good if it's inside there. We've also got to do extraction, because we obviously need extraction for that side, for the bathroom and also the kitchen. But we've got this handy little area here, so we're going to vent out through the roof tiles at some stage. But yes, so we're going to be putting another sub main in as well, because the board is yay over that way. It is way far. So we're going to be running that in armoured externally, up into the loft, all the way through the loft, down a stud wall, across the floor, down into there. That is the plan. So just going to give you a little detailed drawing. Boom, there she is. So we've got various sockets and lights and things like that to go in, but because I'm on my own, I really do need to crack on with it before the lads get here to really make a really good jump on it. So I'm going to set it up on time lapse so I can really put my headphones in, shut the world off, and really crack on. I've got some of the points that I need to isolate. As you beady-eyed viewers might have seen, that there is a socket that is hanging off the wall and it's all smashed. That is, we all know that is not safe, girls and boys, so do not do that. But that is the only person in here is me, moi. That is it. So as that's got to be isolated off, there's also this one's going to be isolated off, and then I think that's pretty much it on here. Has been a board change previous to me, before that, because the clients have literally just bought this, they've not had it very long. Another 18th edition board went on, no SPD, screw fix special, nice. Problem is with that, the test results don't really mean anything, because they can't do, because in this room I found another joint which I've got to rectify. So this one here, so this is a joint here that I've then put into a Wago, but that is how it was left, that sort of standard like that. But that was on the lighting, that was back over here, and there was various, I think it was like 4 strip lights in here, lights all in there as well. And when I stripped it back, I thought, right, okay, I'm going to, because I always put new circuits in for a room like this, I don't want any hassle later on down the line. And when I stripped it back, the CPCs weren't connected, so, but funnily enough, on my test sheet I've got results. Magic. So we are proposing to change the main board, upgrade it for, because it's only a split load dual RCD, 63 amp I believe on each RCD, so they are right running on the old rev limiter anyway. So what I propose to do is put an RCBO board in with SPD right at source. So I think that's a better method. But anyway, enough of that. I really do need to get on. So enough of that, eh? Come on. I haven't even had a tea. No tea been offered here. No tea. No biscuits. No biscuits. Maybe I've upset them. I hope not. Okay, so we have, as always, I like to get the back boxes on. The reason why, because it gives you a clear layout of where everything needs to be. As always, using the laser level, because you want everything around here, although you're probably not going to tell, you know, too much, but in the kitchen areas over there, you're going to tell massively. So wherever you've got tiles, if you're not completely level, it will show on the grout line massively, and it's quite often you'll go to kitchens and you'll see that you've got one in the grout line and then one's like 10 mil above or something. It just looks a bit mental, so always try and get that nice and level. The other thing that we do is we always get a bit of all-round band on. I'll try and show you around here. So all-round band, we always use the oval capping where need to. You don't, like I say, you don't have to use capping now, because with RCD protection you don't need it. Me personally, I prefer using it because it ties it all back. I don't always use it, I just prefer to use it. So when I mean I don't always use it, I just prefer it, because if you've got a light switch, for example, and it's got 3 million cables coming down to it, then sometimes I use clips, but 90% of the time I always use the all-round band and oval capping. I just think it's neater, it's better for when the lads do all the plasterboarding and things like that. It just makes life a lot easier. So this wall behind me, as you can see, so there's a lot of pipe work and things like that, because the other side of that there is a bathroom area. So what that's going to have done to it is that's actually going to be brought off to sort out this lot. So you obviously this is going to be nice area. On the picture I've got a table here. So what, again, done the all-round band down, and then we're going to leave the tails long, because it's going to be like, you know, we use a dry liner, something like that on there. So that's pretty much it on this bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this area in a radial. So lounge, diner and bedrooms all going to be on a radial. So there's 1, 2, 3 sockets in that room and 4 in this room. Fine, nothing wrong with that. 16 amp radial, happy days. That's going to be that one. Kitchen, yeah, I technically could run that on another radial, but I always like to do my kitchens, although it's not going to be a massive load on there anyway. I always prefer doing a ring, just the way I do it. so that's what the next plan for me is now, to start chucking some cables in, because I like to get this part sorted, but I know that if I don't get on with that, I've been putting it off really, you know, the boiler room bit that I mentioned earlier on, because I can't really be bothered to move all the timbers. Steve never watches these anyway, so yeah, I can't be bothered to move all the timbers. I'm on my own now, so yeah, so that's why. So I'm going to do those later. So let's get on with the running of some cables, I think. Oh, another one. So we had the building inspector out, obviously to sign off, make sure that he was happy with the concrete slab for the lads to be building on, and there's actually a steel that's going to be going in across here. So there's a steel that's going to be going across here, like there, but it's actually not a structural steel, so they're not bothered about that. So technically we don't have to put it in, but we are putting it in because it's on the original drawings. So that's what we do. It's on the original drawings. That's what it is. Putting it in, and what that'll do is really take out the bounce from the floor. That's what it is. But hey, that's not what I'm talking to you about. What I'm actually talking to you about is that now that on any of the new build stuff, that the plumbing, so let me show you above my head, so these pipes here, so on any new installation they have got to be lagged. Did you know that, girls and boys? I didn't know that, so I just thought I'd share that with you. I know it's not Sparky related, but it's building related, isn't it? So in between those have now, apparently according to our building inspector, have to be lagged. So if they're not, and you are doing a new build and your plumber is not doing that, he's been a bit of a naughty boy, because apparently that's what you have to do. So I imagine it's all to do with energy efficiency, keeping those pipes hot for as long as possible. It might have always been there and nobody's done it, and now they're actually enforcing it. So I don't know why that they are and how they're going to enforce that, because let's face it, they don't come out that often, do they? So but yeah, so just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so all the cables are ran for this radial now. Okay, so my last leg is actually this one, so that's going to be left long so it can come out the wall with that stud wall. So we're now onto the phase of cable clipping. So this is the bad boy that I use, this DEWALT stapler. It's not a sponsorship by them, it is just what I use. The only thing is with this is, because I've got the 5 amp hour battery on it, it is pretty weighty, but you sort of man up and get over it. But it's brilliant, it saves so much time. So I use that. So the staples that it fires are these. So if you can see those nicely, they're actually insulated as well on there, and obviously they're all metal, do the job perfect. So the other thing is the capping then. So once I've got around clipping all the cables to the joist nice and neatly, dress them all in, although like I say, nobody's going to see that, but I know it's all done properly, and that's what I like to do. So spacing wise is I generally use it so like from this end to there, so that's generally what the space is. So you staple, first staple in, stick that onto the next one, bang, away you go. And that's generally how I do it. Yes, you rattle through quite a lot of staples, but it's a nice neat job and it's supported. Then you can genuinely say that your cable is supported across its entire length, which you can't always do, because let's face it, you can't, with perfect scenario here, all the ceilings are all down, but you can't always do that. So another little tip with these is, once you've stapled it in, sometimes if you want it to be tight, you can give the one end a tap with a hammer, crush that in a little bit more, and then that way you can then put a bit of tension on, tighten the whole cable up all the way down its run, and bang. And I'm not talking like it's like a banjo string, I'm talking like, you know, just nice and neat. The other thing is then after that is what we do is we'll use the oval conduit. So I think this is 20 mil, I think 20 mil oval conduit. I just cut that with a hacksaw, a little junior hacksaw. That's it. I mean, there's nothing more to it. But when you're doing, you know, you've got 2 lots of 2.5mm going in, bit of the old cable lube goes a long way. You know what I'm saying? Goes a long, long way. It makes life so much easier than doing it a lot faster. And let's face it, speed is the key. And I think that's why some people get a bit put off by using this, is because it can be a bit of a pain. If the cables are not, like, they're a little bit twisted or whatever. I know they shouldn't be, but you know, if they're a little bit twisted and stuff, they just get a bit of a pain in the arse really to get through. So once you whack the old cable lube in, straight in. So that is what we're going to do now. So we're going to get on with that. Once I've got cracking on that bit, we're then going to move on into the kitchen, get that sorted. We've got smoke alarm circuit to go in because, again, building regs, we've got habitable space, so we need hardwired smoke alarms, so we'll get on with those. But essentially it's just 2 cables for now, 3-core and earth, because you need the interlink to go through. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'll just get on with that, and then I'll jump back in once I've got all that sorted and I can show you. The other thing is, though, as well, is that when I pulled that cable down from up there, I don't know whether you can see that properly, when I pulled that cable down from that joist, that is what I've been left with. So I volt sticked it, but I'm not entirely convinced on those, because I don't really trust those. I think it is a dead leg, but again, I don't really get it. So what I'm going to do is use my voltage indicator to make sure that is off. I tell you what, we can do that together. Like I say, I've already volt sticked it and it was saying it's dead, but obviously you can't really trust those 100%. So yeah, so I got nothing in it, so it's obviously old dead leg, but it just makes you've got to be very careful what you're doing, because you don't know what is hidden and lurking. So obviously it's an old cable from somewhere, so we'll deal with that appropriately. The capping's all done now for this bit, so we've also stapled them up. Okay, so that is how we staple them. So yeah, we've doubled up on those bits on there. So we run those through, and then these are dropped down. So like this one here is going to be for the bedroom, because there's a stud wall going to be going across here, and then you've got a doorway leading through. So this is my lights going in for that bad boy. So yeah, so like I say, we're leaving all the capping and stuff using the lube. It's all good, so it does make a massive difference. So we've also got our light switch all sorted now, extractor fan isolator, it's going to go in up there. So now I'm going to have to go into the dungeon bit, get on with this, because just had a phone call from Stevie and they're hopeful to send some of the lads over here. So I've got to sort all this lot out basically. So yes, I've got to move all this timber. Brilliant. Also, we've got to move this alarm panel, because you've got to remember this is going to be a bathroom, so this alarm panel's got to be moved. Won't be doing that today, but this is the bit I need to get sorted. So like I say, that's all got to come off. I've got to find out where all the main isolators are for the PV stuff, because I don't know where it is, and then sort all these other bits out. So I've got my drops up roughly now, so I've just used a bit of old cable, and I just used some what's it called, clout nails and stuff, and I just throw them all in, because the consumer unit location's basically going to be sort of here, and then once it's all done, I've got all my cables in, then we can then clip all that in nicely away from all those pipes. But it looks like most of these alarm cables come from that way, so which would be good, because then it just means a case of labeling it all up, pulling all these back, and then dropping the panel into this fake wall that's not there now. So it's quite a lot to do, in fairness, a lot of faffing about, and yeah, there's there's a fair bit. But also I do need to isolate all these sockets off, because look, we've got loads of sockets and stuff which technically these will be in the shower right now, and I don't think that is going to meet regulations, is it? Let's be honest. So they've got to come off, these have got to come off, and there's a couple of sockets, obviously that naughty one there, so that naughty one, and then that one over there. The other thing is that we've been asked to look at the CCTV. Although it's not in use, they want to reuse it at some stage. Now I don't really do CCTV, so it's something that's new to me as well, because as it stands now, that over there, you see, so that's all going to be boarded in. Not going to be able to do anything like that. I can't leave it like that, so I need to get that cable outside at least and get it into some sort of, like, I don't know, whisker box, something like that. So yeah, because then they can reinstate that at a later date. But like I said, there's loads to do, loads and loads to do, but we seem to have about 5 million jobs on the go at the minute. So yeah, loads and loads and loads. So first things first, I'm gonna have to strip and move all these timbers out the way, because that's not going to work. That is not going to work for me. Okay, glad that's done. Right, so I've got to move this. So we have got a domestic boiler. Ow, hit my elbow on that. We've got a domestic boiler management system on there that needs to move. What's that doing? Not entirely sure what that is. So that's my power supply for this solar eye boost, whatever that is, which then that runs around. Right, okay, so that looking at that leads down to here, which then actually powers up a water heater, which is that one. So that's what that does. This one here then goes into, looks like two almost like coils or something that would be measuring the flow and return measurements, I'm guessing. So probably some thermostats style stuff like that. You can tell I do loads with heating controls, can't you? And then normal boiler supply by the looks of it, and then whatever that is, not sure, so we'll have to figure that out. So anyway, so let's go and kill the power on there. So I need to get all that out of the way. What I'm a bit concerned about, in fairness, is that I've got no wall to mount anything on. So obviously I've only got limited time, and if Steve doesn't get over here, then we're going to be in a bit of a pickle, I would say. So whether I mount, I'm more concerned about these, the heat and control stuff and the solar boost stuff, that I make sure that that's back on. So I might end up mounting them lower down here. Let's move some of this insulation out of the way. So we might mount them down here somewhere, because at least that way they're done, out the way, done and dusted. Because the last thing I want to do is take all that off and then I can't actually do anything with it. So I think that's what we're going to do. That's the plan. That is going to be the plan. We're going to get rid of all that lot, kill all the power in here, then start relocating that stuff down there where I can, without having to extend all the cables and all the rest of it. So wish me luck. Right, the arrangement is done. So it's been a bit of a pain, really, to say the least, just trying to get it to work nicely, within reason. So like I say, what I decided to do is move the switch up here for this solar boost, because the ring's obviously been split and brought here. Rather than mess about too much else, I've joined it in there, extended the ring down to this point here, and then obviously then I had to alter all these. Now that is another sensor that goes outside, but I've got no access to next door either, because they're not in. So on here now is, we've got it moved down out of the way so Steve can get all his stud wall sorted. There's a little bit more dressing in to do with it, but I'm pretty much there now, so that's the main thing really, that we're all ready to go. Yeah, so it's been a bit of a slog really getting that sorted. It's a good few hours sorting that out. So I need to take all those clips and stuff off the wall which are still there, but I'll do that later. But the most important thing, I won. It's 3 o'clock. The rest of the lads ain't here, so I got it sorted. So it's been hot, leaning on them pipes as well, not much fun. So because it's killed all the power off on there, the alarm's not very happy now because it's killed the battery sort of thing. So but you know, such is life. But I need to move all that. That's what's annoying now, because I've got to move that out the way, but I can't do that and because I haven't got any of the codes or anything for the alarm, so that's all gonna have a bit of a meltdown. So yeah, so a bit of a pickle really. But I think what the next plan for me while I'm at it is I'm going to get these cut off, take them out. I think that one actually runs all the way around and powers that socket up over there anyway. And then I've just got to look into killing all that off. But once I've done that, I've got no power in here, and the rest of the lads are going to moan when they turn up and they go, I've got no power, where am I supposed to be running stuff from? So, but c'est la vie. Needs to happen, doesn't it? Needs to happen. Needs to happen. So I'm going to go and cut that off and get that out of the way. And then I think after that, like I say, if I can get those sorted in time, I tell you what, I'm going to show you how to figure out that socket is exactly that one. Hold on, 2 seconds, I'm going to turn the power off. Right, we've got a little spanner in the works, haven't we? Little cheeky scamp. So on the face of it, this socket here, I can see the cable coming through, and it looks like it is literally just a spur off. And as you come back, it follows all the way where we're going. So it's clipped up there, all the way through, shoots off this way, and then drops into here. Okay. So as you'd think naturally that is just a spur, but it's not. So that then it may well be we might have a spur off a spur, because when you come over here, yes, before we say it's all proved dead anyway, I've got a pair in here, haven't I? So just the other side of this wall, there is another socket down here which is now no longer live. So it could be that is spurred off a spur. So we need to verify that and find out what is going on, because that's a bit naughty, isn't it? So 2 minutes, let's go and take the other side off. Okay, so it goes off again. Okay, so that's the other side. So I've got another socket over there and I've got another one over there. So we're going to whip those two off now and have a little look what's going on over there and see if we've just got a 1 on those, and if they've got 2s, then it's going to return back in somewhere else. So let's take those off. They've all got 2s in them. Okay, so well, I mean, my 2's got 2 sockets coming in, 2 cables, sorry, coming in and out. So that leads me to believe that the spur might be over here for this alarm. Could be that, see that non-switch spur up there? Could be that little bad boy. So what we'll do, we will figure it out. Let's make some space because we've got a bit of a mess over here. So let's clear all this up and then we'll come back and we'll test that out. Okay, so I'm going to run through quickly. Okay, so we've proved that it's all dead, so we're all good to go. So what we're going to use is actually we're going to use the voltage indicator to do continuity on there. So what we're going to do is link in your what I'm going to do is just your live a neutral on there. So we'll just get a Wago. So we're just going to connect these two up, because logic would state that that one on its own, let me just push that in there, that one has been additionally put in. Might not be the case. So what we're going to do then is go up to this end, up here. Hopefully that's, you can see that. So what we're going to do then is obviously go on our ohms resistance on here, and obviously as you're completing the circuit it's going to bell out basically. So hopefully that, so we're going to go on the live and neutral on this end and prove. So yeah, so that is, so basically that cable there, which we'll mark up, so that cable there, I'll tell you what, let's take you off that. Right, so that cable, if we just proved that that is our spur, which is off to the alarm. Now, that's great. The problem is I can't do anything with that tonight because I need this wall up and I need to relocate all that over here. So that's not going to happen. So that's a bit annoying. So I can't do anything with that tonight. So I'm going to have to reconnect all of that up. And then what I'm also going to have to do is on this leg here is where that comes down into this one. We're going to take all that back up. We're going to put a join up here, and then I can extend that back down and then back through into that socket behind. I think that's going to be the only way to sort that out. Oh, I think I've just broke this. Just broke it. Oh. So yes, that's going to be the only way to sort that out, and that is what we're going to have to do with that. So better put all that back together. Ugh, so annoying when you're getting on like this. Really, really annoying, because I need the stud walls up. Right, here they are, look, dream team. They're all in. They're all here. They've come in, took over, kicked me out again. It's unbelievable. So although Sean's cut himself now, he's touched wood, 2 seconds, look. He's bleeding, look. He's bleeding out. So if you don't see Sean again, you know what's happened. It's been too much for him, and that's the end of him.
That's what happens when a brickie touches wood.
That's right. Just drink it up. Drink it up. Keep your iron on. We don't do health and safety here. We just do just drink it. So the lads are going to be cracking on now, getting these walls up. Happy days. So we're all sorted on this end now. Brilliant. So the lads are going to be flying, getting that stud wall up, this one up, and then the boiler room. But like I say, it's a bit of a pain in the arse not being able to kill this socket off, this one off, because it's connected to this alarm, and I need this wall up to move that, which is again another long-winded process really. And he's off to the races. Look at him go. Look at him go. You missed me, Sean? Yeah, for the camera. That's what we're liking on that note. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave your comments below. Give us a thumbs up, and we shall see you on the next one. Take care, guys.